Welcome everyone to Daytona 500 pole qualifying. This is the place to be for 10 Gatorade Cup Series drivers to watch them battle it out to try and start on the front row so that their positions are locked in before the Gatorade duels. So the other night, after the Busch Clash, drivers went and did a random drawing. If a driver drew numbers 1 through 10, they are here right now with their cars, getting ready to qualify and try and be the fastest driver. If they picked positions 11 through 42, that is where they, quote, qualified, and that will be basically where they start for their Gatorade dual race. So 10 drivers to go out for Daytona 500 front row qualifying. They are Diego Yepez, Antonin Charlebois, Jeff Bright, William Bulin, Leon Campana, Carter Friesen, Max Rossi, Scott Gregory, Derek Hamill, and Jake Galloway. The rest of the drivers will have their starting spots already basically locked up for their Gatorade duels. These drivers here are just going to determine where they will start in their duels or if they get a front row starting spot for the Daytona 500. First car on track for qualifying is the one of Diego Yepez. Back with EJR, Earnhardt Ganassi Racing, looking for some success here today and to try and start on the pole for the Great American Race in season number 11. Yepez a nice 191 miles an hour down the backstretch into turn number 3. So here today at the track, cloudy conditions, a nice 71 degrees, and just very slight wind in the westward direction. That's not what we're accustomed to seeing here. I think every other time we've done single car qualifying, the wind has been the northeast position, so these cars actually going to get a pretty nice push down these straightaways because of that wind. Lap number 1 for Yepez complete. It's a 47.513. That is Yepez's first lap of the afternoon. He will have one more lap, try and run faster than that, and set the pace and set the tone for Daytona 500 pole qualifying. And of course, Yepez the first one to go out. He is setting the pace for the rest of the drivers. They will know now what they have to beat after Yepez is over with. So third, 3, and 4 for the one of Diego Yepez as he comes off turn number 4. What will be the tone, the mark for these drivers to try and go up and beat Yepez into the tri-oval to the start-finish line? It is going to be a 47.053, so 47.053 for Diego Yepez. That will be the bar. The next 9 drivers got to get above in order to start on the pole for the Daytona 500. Next car out will be Antonin Charlebois. It is Antonin Charlebois' turn to go out and set a lap in Daytona 500 front row qualifying for the Gatorade Cup Series season number 11. Charlebois, not a newcomer to the Gatorade Cup Series. In fact, had a great speed weeks back in season number 8, driving the then 00 car for Michael Walter Racing. Won the Clash, won the Gatorade Duel, but couldn't end out the sweep with a win in the Daytona 500. Looking to win the duel here this season. Is trying to get up to speed on the apron right there. Charlebois trying to get up to speed here, get up to speed as fast as he can, so he can then have a shot to try and beat Yepez's 47.053. That is right now the gold standard. And this is going to be a good testimony, too, to see maybe where these teams are in terms of the horsepower department. We just saw an Earnhardt Ganassi car go out there and set down 47.053. Now we have a Roush Racing Ford. So we'll see now if the Fords are maybe focusing more on speed, straight line speed, or if they're going to try and be faster in the draft. Yeah, we'll see if those speeds at the end of the backstretch. That's really going to be key there. We saw Yepez go about 190, 191, 192 down to turn number 3 there. If Charlebois can be up on that mark, it's going to be close. So driving it through 1 and 2, and now down the backstretch, up the super stretch. Getting up to pace, 189. 190, so some nice pace down the backstretch for Antonin Charlebois, but didn't get to that 191 mark. I think that might hurt him just a little bit right there. It was oh so close. If the straightaway was just a little bit longer, Charlebois would have been to 191 miles an hour. But this is still only lap number 1. We still have a whole nother lap to go. Has Charlebois saved some stuff? We're about to find out. Into the tri-oval. Here's the start of lap number 2. The time for Charlebois is a 47.615, about 1/10 slower than what Diego Yepez ran. So we'll see if Charlebois can try and find the 10th somewhere, some way. I just don't know. That's a lot to make up at Daytona, a whole 10th off. Yeah, a tenth doesn't seem like much. You think of a tenth of a second, it's over like that. But when you're going full speed, racer just flat out around Daytona with restrictor plates on the engines, it's not that is a ton of time to make up. Where do you make up a tenth of a second if you're just holding the car wide open, holding it around the double yellow line? That is within the horsepower department. So maybe Roush Racing and the Fords are trying to think of to be faster during the race. In the draft, not so much by themselves. So Charlebois, the lap for him is a 4.7162, just about 1 tenth slower than Yepez. That slots right now the 16 into the second position. Currently on the front row, but still Yepez on top. But next up, a driver who is no stranger to starting on pole in the Daytona 500, Jeff Bright. The old man is taking the track. Jeff Bright, what will be his 10th season of Gatorade Cup Series competition, looking to start off with a pole in the Daytona 500. Did a few seasons ago, start in the pole position, and no stranger going faster at Daytona in qualifying. He has Hendrick engines under the hood of that, so they know how to go fast. They know how to make horsepower, and we'll see. We saw the first Chevy go out. Yepez set down the 47053. Now Jeff Bright, the next Chevy to go out. We'll see if maybe he will be just as equal as the one, or a little bit faster, a little bit slower. Yeah, Jeff Bright, a lot of success in his Gatorade Cup Series career. His 10th season, as we mentioned, he has 7 Gatorade Cup Series wins. He won a championship back in season number 2. It's just been a great career for Jeff Bright, and he had that little dry spell, won in season 6 early on, then didn't win again until season number 10 in Vermont. He's looking to make this next dry spell not as long and win again in season number 11 here this season. So Jeff Bright's taking the green flag. He is underway in pole qualifying here at the Daytona International Speedway. Jeff Bright underway in car number 5. Of course, he saw son Eli go out and win the Clash in the number 24 car. So I'm sure he has some maybe momentum riding with him, even though he's not Eli. But, I mean, running in the family, maybe they're going to do well here at Daytona. He got up to 191, barely down that backstretch. That is slightly better than what we saw the 16, but I don't know if it's quite as fast as Yepez went right now. We'll have to see if he comes off turn number 4. He will come around, complete the first lap. Jeff Bright's time, a 47.578, within a tenth of what Yepez ran. So now we'll see, can he try and find a way to make up 6.5 hundredths of a second? That's going to be hard to do. We mentioned it during Charlebois' lap. It's hard to make up time here. And we'll see if he can get it done. Up the super stretch. A constant 191. Not a single blurb of 192, and that's going to hurt him. Yepez got up to 192 down the backstretch on his second lap. That is why he ran so fast. So Jeff Bright comes off turn 4. It might not be a pole lap. We'll see what lap it is, though. Into the trial zone, to the start-finish line. Jeff Bright's time is a 47.134. That leads him second, just ahead of Antonin Charlebois. Now Jeff Bright is currently on the provisional front row for the season number 11 Daytona 500, but still 7 more drivers remain, and the next one will be William Bulin in the 31 car. William Bulin leaving pit road, getting ready to start his qualifying lap for his season 11 Daytona 500, looking to win the pole for Richard Childress Racing. The third Chevy of 4 cars to go out. We'll see if RCR is making some power into the hood there. Now let's listen to the sound of this car as it races down the backstretch to get up to speed. It's crazy to think about just how fast that car is going there. Getting up to speed 150 miles an hour. It looks like it's just strolling along. Still getting up to speed as he goes through 3 and 4. Here he comes off turn 4. We'll see if Bulin can put together a lap that can challenge Yepez in the 1. Green flag for Bulin in Gatorade Cup Series Daytona 500 front row qualifying. Bulin's been around the Gatorade Cup Series, hasn't had much success. Looking to try and start that success here in season number 11. Driving the 31 once again. So we saw in this first lap of Yepez's, he got up to about 191. It looks like Bulin is just lacking the speed right now. He doesn't look terribly fast. Looks like it's about as fast as Charlebois was going at that point down the backstretch. Very interesting there. The 31 not showing the pace that we saw the one of Yepez. As he comes off turn number 4, we'll see what his first lap will be. Yeah, Yepez ran a 4.7513 on this first lap. We'll see what Bulin runs. It's going to be a 4.7711. That is a full tenth off of what Charlebois ran, and Charlebois was a full tenth off of Yepez, so that's about 2 tenths slower than what the one ran. So that's not great for William Bulin right now. Now, obviously, they're focused more on making it fast in the draft, making it handle well over this straight line speed, and that might be the way to go. But, I mean, we have some big wings on the back of these cars. You would assume that would give it a little more downforce. And with the horsepower these cars have, they can never be too stable for these drivers. Into the trial for Bulin to complete his qualifying run in the Daytona 500. The lap time will be a 47.231. So 47.231 seats William Bulin right now, fourth of 4 drivers to run. He's going to hope to not be the number 10 of 10 drivers. He still has 6 more to try and beat, as Leon Campana is next. Leon Campana rolling out for qualifying in the Season 11 Gatorade Cup Series Daytona 500. You talk about storybook and storylines that could maybe be relevant for this Gatorade Cup Series Season 11 Daytona 500. We had one already work out in the Busch Clash with Eli Bright driving the 24. Obviously with Kobe Bryant passing away, Eli Bright won it in the number 24. Storybook there. Couldn't script it much better than that. For Leon Campana, John Andretti passed away. And maybe the role he's most known in NASCAR is racing the number 43 for King Richard Petty. Well, Richard Petty racing cars right now on the racetrack, Leon Campana. You know that's not the number 43 out there. It's number 44 out there. And it's the same team. And Andretti really was one to turn Petty Enterprises around back when he was joined. It was a nothing team that was still recovering from the retirement of owner Richard Petty. And then Andretti brought it up and got top 10 points finish. One race or two in that car and took it back to the glory it should be at, the number 43. The team back to the glory it should be at. Can Leon Campana do something with the 44 for John Andretti? He is flying down the backstretch. Look at that 44. 192 on the first lap. Those Dodges might have something for them here. Dodge obviously hasn't raced every season of the Gatorade Cup Series. And obviously has had the least success. Can they win a Daytona 500 in Season 11 with maybe a Richard Petty racing car? Already the first lap is a 47.132. Now, if he were to quit right now, which I know he won't, if he were to quit right now, that would seat him second. He has already beaten Jeff Bright's lap time in 1 lap. This second lap is going to be in the 46-second bracket, and is going to put that 44 on the provisional pole. Leon Campana off the 4th corner. Richard Petty racing. Leon Campana. A 46.668. The 44 right now is on pole for the Daytona 500. A blistering lap for Leon Campana. Seeds him on pole right now for the Daytona 500. 5 drivers left to run. The next one of them is Carter Friesen. Half the field has run out and made a qualifying lap. We're now in the second half, and it's starting off with the 34 of Carter Friesen. And how do you go out after what we just saw Leon Campana do? How do you go out and say, all right, I can one-up that? I mean, his first lap would have him seated second right now. and within a tenth of what Yepez ran on his second lap. Friesen is going to need to put together a lap somehow, some way that could try and challenge Campana's 46.668, which is about 4/10 faster than the next fastest guy. And something I noticed Campana did on his warm-up lap, he didn't go to fourth immediately. He kind of held it back, and then he went to fourth as he got off turn 2, off of the apron. Is that something that maybe propelled him forward, or was the car just that fast? So Carter Friesen to start his first time lap. Yeah, we saw Campana on his first lap went 192 on the backstretch. If you want to try and beat Campana's lap, you have to get up to 192 as the end of the backstretch on your first lap. It cannot be the second lap. It has to be your first lap. Right now, Friesen looks pretty fast. 190, 191. Can he get that 192? He did. This will be a challenger for Leon Campana for sure. It's going to be a challenger for the front row. Right now, the front row is at a 47.053 by Diego Yepez, the first car to go out. Friesen is the sixth car to go out. Is looking to try and top Yepez's lap to get on the front row. More importantly, top Campana's lap to get on the pole. It's a 47.266 on his first lap. That wasn't as fast as Campana's. Campana was about just a little more than a tenth better than that. Tenth and a third better than that. It's going to be hard to make up a tenth and a third, but can Carter Friesen try and sit on the front row for the Daytona 500? Just has to be a 47.053 to be a provisional second. 193 at the end of the backstretch. And after Friesen goes out, 4 cars remain. Off 4, Carter Friesen will see the start-finish line. The checker flag is waving on his qualifying time. The time for Carter Friesen, a 46.80. A 46.8 flat. Carter Friesen is right now second in Daytona 500 qualifying. 4 cars remain. The next of them is Max Rossi. Leaving pit road right now, it's Max Rossi, the first Toyota we will see take track here in Daytona 500 qualifying. So far, 6 drivers, and we've had 4 Chevys, 1 Ford, and 1 Dodge. So we've had all now 4 manufacturers take time on the racetrack. Max Rossi, if he wants to sit on the pole for the Daytona 500, has to beat a 46.668 set by Leon Campana. To sit on the front row, it's a 46.80 by Carter Friesen, who just went out the last time. The last 2 drivers to go out there have put down blistering laps. So pressure's on for Max Rossi and Red Bull Racing and Toyota. The first Toyota to hit the track. Won't be the last. We still have Jake Galloway to come out later in this session. And a few cars. And here is the green flag for Max Rossi in qualifying. Looking to try and sit on pole or the front row for Red Bull Racing and Toyota in the Season 11 Gatorade Cup Series Daytona 500. Once again, this first lap, if you want to have a shot at that front row, you have to get up to 192. If you don't, you're in trouble. 189, 190, 191 looking promising. 192 did get up there. So we'll see how it compares to Friesen's and Campana's first lap. Campana, the first lap, ran a 47.132. Friesen with the 47.266. So we'll see if it maybe slots in between those drivers. Slower than both, faster than both. It's a 47.232. That is a full tenth off of what Campana ran on his first lap, but slightly better than what Friesen ran. So right now, Max Rossi could be trending to sit on the front row in the Daytona 500. And there's still 3 cars to run after this. So he'll get up to 193 down the back on his second lap. And I think this could be a 46.7. Somewhere in there. So Max Rossi to the start-finish line. Checkered flag is out. Rossi's qualifying lap time is a 46.770. So 46.770, about a tenth slower than what Campana ran, but is good enough for second right now in Daytona 500 front row qualifying. Max Rossi right now outside pole. 3 drivers remain. Scott Gregory is next. Scott Gregory is out on track for his qualifying lap in Gatorade Cup Series Daytona 500 front row qualifying. The last 3 drivers to go out have set down blistering lap times in the 46-second bracket. Can Scott Gregory keep that alive? He's the second Richard Childress Racing driver we will see go out. William Bulin was the first, and his lap time wasn't great. It was a 47.231. That right now has him last. 7 of 7 drivers. So we'll see if Scott Gregory can one-up his teammate, or this might confirm that all the RCR cars are maybe on the same strategy and same path. Scott Gregory getting up to speed, coming around to the tri-oval. There's the green flag for Gregory in his qualifying lap. Just watch that speed at the top of your screen. I don't know that he's going fast enough entering turn 1 to get up to 192 at the end of this backstretch. I just don't see it. We'll see off turn 2. Yeah, just not there. The power's not there. He didn't even get up to 191. I thought he would for a split second, but he didn't at all. That's going to hurt him. Well, his teammate is the slowest right now. For Scott Gregory, it's a 47.652. That's the second worst first lap that we've seen. The worst is obviously by his teammate William Bulin. So Richard Childress Racing, the 2 cars that they got in the front row qualifying, not going to be sitting on the front row. But they're learning stuff for sure for maybe later in the season. Obviously Talladega in the chase. That's something big. Try and qualify well there. Qualify well in the super speedway swing. We'll see what Scott Gregory's second lap is. Checkered flag is out. 47.208. It's a 47.208. That seeds him right now 7th of 8 drivers that have run, just barely edging on his teammate William Bulin. 2 cars remain. The next of them is the 8 of Derek Hamill. Derek Hamill heading out onto the racetrack right now for Earnhardt Ganassi Racing in car number 8. This will be the second Earnhardt Ganassi car we've seen in this session. The first being the first car to go out, the one of Diego Yepez, who set down at the time we thought was going to be a pretty good lap time of 47.053, but right now that has him in 4th as 3 drivers have gone out run in the 46-second bracket. That is where you need to be if you want to sit on the front row for the Great American Race. Hamill's trying that strategy, not shifting until after turn 2, going up to 4th there. Max Rossi did it, Leon Campana did. They're right now set 1st and 2nd. And we talked about storybook and, you know, just fate and everything just kind of being, you couldn't script it any better. We saw that with Eli Bright winning in number 24, the Clash for Kobe. We right now see Leon Campana sitting on pole for Richard Petty Racing after John Andretti passed away, and Andretti being obviously maybe the biggest name that has raced for Richard Petty Racing since obviously Richard Petty's retirement. Derek Hamill in the 8 car, another Kobe tribute. Could this be maybe another storybook moment in the making? If it is, he's got to find some speed down this backstretch. 185 through 1 and 2. That's not fast enough. And I think this could be one of the slowest laps we've seen here today. In my opinion, it looks even slower than what Scott Gregory just ran. That was a 47.208, which is obviously the second slowest lap. Well, Derek Hamill's first lap is a 47.6 47.740, which is the slowest first lap we have seen run here today. Yeah. Previous slowest was William Bulin with the 47.711. Derek Hamill now 47.740. If he doesn't want to be last, he's going to have to beat Bulin's 47.231, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Just about 300ths off right there of Bulin's lap time. It was struggling there at the end of the backstretch to stay up to speed. So it looks like RCR, EJR, obviously they have a slight alliance, possibly both playing the same game. And the lap time for Hamill, 47.305. Only driver to run the 47.3s seeds him right now last. 9th of 9 drivers. One driver remains to knock off the 44 of Leon Campana or the 83 of Max Rossi. It is the 11 of Jake Galloway. It all lies in Jake Galloway's lap. He is the final driver to take time for front row qualifying. And much like last season, when Edwin Mendez, piloting the 11 car, was the last driver to go out, ended up winning the pole in a walk-off lap time. Does the 11 team have it in them for a second straight season with the Brit behind the wheel this season? Right now, Leon Campana is sitting on pole for Richard Petty Racing, a 46.668. Front row is the other Toyota, Max Rossi, a 46.770. We'll see what Jake Galloway can do. Will it all come down to the end, or will Galloway's first lap show signs of weakness and maybe show who will start on the front row? Green flag for Jake Galloway. Not enough. It's going to be a good lap. It's not going to be a great lap. And he needs a great lap to sit on the front row. First lap for Jake Galloway. 47.438. That might be what we do call, quote, the best of the rest. The best lap time of anyone else besides those top three that all ran very, very fast. So in all likelihood, Leon Campana is going to sit on pole for the Great American Race in Season 11. He will have Max Rossi beside him. The rest of the spots will be up for grabs in the Gatorade duels. Jake Galloway, where's he going to slot in? I think at this point it's going to be 4th, just to have Yepez. Checkered flag for Jake Galloway. A 46.980. The 4th driver to run down the 46-second bracket, but Leon Campana is on pole for the Daytona 500 in Season 11, and Max Rossi, who joined him on the front row, he'll be 2nd. Positions 3 through 42 still have to be determined, and if the 44 of the A3 have some sort of issue in their duel and are unable to finish, it will then go to the winner of the duel to be on the front row. So, on your screen, there is the starting lineup for Gatorade Duel number 1. And there's the starting lineup for Gatorade Duel number 2. It's going to be 21 drivers in each. It's going to be great racing for the Gatorade Duels, which will set the starting lineup for the Season 11 Gatorade Cup Series Daytona 500. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Front row qualifying, Leon Campana, Max Rossi on the front row for the Gatorade Cup Series Season 11 Daytona 500.